Before I begin, I would like to share a few words. Representation is vital. Otherwise, the butterfly surrounded by a group of moths, unable to see itself, will keep trying to become the moth. This is a poem by Rupi Kaur from her book, The Sun and Her Flowers. In my view, this poem perfectly expresses how isolating a lack of representation can be. We forget, in moments like those, our own potential within and the possibilities of our dreams and aspirations. Which brings me to a story not unlike Kaur's poem, where I too could not see myself represented. The summer before my sophomore year, I got the chance to work in a real life lab. I was so excited. I love biology, still do. I had once had a biology teacher who had told me I could be anything I set my mind to, including a scientist. From that day on, I had wanted to become a microbiologist and pursue a career in STEM, which is why when I arrived at the lab, I could feel my heart pounding and a huge grin spread across my face. I was convinced this was going to be the best summer ever. And it was, sort of. When I got there, I realized no one looked like me. Yes, there were plenty of women, but I was the only Latina. And while this may seem like it wouldn't matter much, it did. It impacted the way I acted in the lab. I became more self-conscious, speaking less than my peers, taking less logical risks, becoming more quiet. This feeling of being alone, of being the only one that had my last name with Spanish-speaking parents, it limited me. Suddenly, my biology teacher's claims of seeing me as a future scientist felt so far away. Now I was a butterfly surrounded by a group of moths. A 2019 study by the US Census Bureau showed that Latinx individuals made up only 7% of the STEM workforce. And of those individuals, less than 2% were women. I know that my story of feeling alone and underrepresented mirrors that of millions of individuals everywhere. While I can't speak for other facets of identity, I know that everyone has felt like this at least once in their lives. Sometimes, even in the classroom. Representation is invaluable, especially in school, when students are able to find allies and staff and see themselves in the curriculum they're learning. They feel empowered, seen. That feeling of loneliness starts to ebb away, which is why I believe diverse schools are incredibly important, vital even. We can all agree that having a good teacher can be life-changing. They both push you to work hard and inspire you to reach your goals. They look beyond the facets of your identity and see greatness and help you see it too. But for every teacher that inspires you, there's maybe one that does quite the opposite. On many occasions, it's not even your fault. We all have implicit biases, and these can go as far as to be reflected in the classroom. A study done by researchers at USC looked at whether or not teachers' evaluations of their students' work was accurate, or if they reflected such biases. Teachers were given 18 mathematical solutions, to which race-specific and gender-specific names have been assigned. The results? Teachers displayed no detectable bias when assessing the correctness of students' work, or how many they had gone wrong. But when estimating actual mathematical ability, or how they thought students would perform, biases against Black, Latinx, and female students were revealed, the largest of which were against Black and Latinx girls. Occurrences like these can have detrimental effects on students. For many, school is a safe space, and this atmosphere in part is cultivated by teachers. Staff can be vital allies for students, and if implicit biases continue to get in the way of student success, such allyship can't happen. One would think that the solution would be to hire more diverse teachers, and while yes, this does work, it's not enough. Teachers need to be advocates for all students, including students of color, LGBTQ plus students, and students with disabilities. They need to support them to help students see themselves as successful and capable of achieving their wildest dreams. This is called the Pygmalion Effect, or when high expectations lead to improved performance. Usually, it's the teachers that have the highest aspirations for us that help us reach the highest levels of success. After all, why try in a classroom where the teacher already sees you as a failure? I remember my sophomore year, I was really struggling in my trigonometry class. I had to dedicate all my time and energy to study for quizzes and tests and spend hours working on homework. I always felt like I was the worst one in the class and felt embarrassed to ask questions, thinking everyone else already knew the answer. However, my teacher didn't see it that way. My teacher saw how hard I was working, realized that I really wanted to do well in her class, that I genuinely cared, and asked me to meet with her one day after school. During the meeting, she encouraged me to ask questions, even if they seemed easy to everyone else, and reminded me that I didn't have to be the best mathematician in the classroom. I just had to give it my all. Pretty soon, I started raising my hand far more often and took more risks. I became more confident in my abilities, and the class even became enjoyable. I started to see my hard work paying off and really started to enjoy trigonometric equations and logarithmic functions. This is the beauty of the Pygmalion effect. When your teacher believes in you, and you start to as well. When my teacher became my supporter, my ally, that's when I started to see positive change. Having a supportive teacher can be life-changing for students. But what happens when students can't see themselves in the curriculum they're being taught? When they can't relate to what they're learning in school? While teachers are an important part of helping students feel represented at school, it's also important to have a curriculum that reflects the student body. While I loved reading A Tale of Two Cities and Macbeth, I've only really read one book by an author of color as part of the curriculum. Reading diverse narratives has many benefits. It helps develop empathy, diminish ignorance, and creates a willingness to understand, to become an ally. Better yet, it gives insight into new perspectives and lifestyles. A great first step to better understand a group of people is to read about them. Implementing a diverse curriculum won't be easy, but with gradual changes, perhaps greater representation can be achieved in both English and history classes across the country. In March 2019, Assemblymember Jose Medina introduced Assembly Bill 331, which would mandate one semester of ethnic studies as a graduation requirement in 2029. While this bill is yet to be introduced, it represents a brighter future for Black, Indigenous, and students of color in California. If passed, not only would students get more representation, they would get a whole class dedicated to it. According to the Los Angeles Times, the course would be focused on the experiences and contributions of Asian, Black, Latino, and Indigenous Americans. This is just the first step of many in better helping students feel seen and empowered at school. I truly believe that school can be a safe haven for students. Representation is a big part of this. In the words of Governor Gavin Newsom, in California, we don't tolerate our diversity, we celebrate it. So at this point, you're probably wondering, what can I do? It may seem as though all this can only take place through administrative and legislative efforts, but that's simply not true. Here at Gunn, we have around 17 student-led clubs that celebrate students of color, LGBTQ plus students, and students with disabilities. So these include MAS, the GSA Club, and the Best Buddies Club. All of these represent wonderful opportunities for you to help celebrate diversity and push for representation at our school. Having an ally can truly be life-changing. It only takes one person to help you see yourself achieving your goals and aspirations. This brings me back to the beginning of this talk, when I got the opportunity to work at a real-life lab before my sophomore year. That summer, I found my ally. Enter Mimi Portilla, a then PhD candidate at UC Davis. It was she who helped me really see myself as a microbiologist, who reminded me that a lack of representation wasn't the same as a lack of possibility. She encouraged me to ask questions, to take risks, reminding me that more than ever, STEM needed more Latinas. She got me excited about laboratory research and helped me picture myself as a future scientist. To this day, I still have my lab coat from that summer hanging in my closet, a reminder of my wildest dreams and goals. It's people like Mimi and my math teacher who really make an impact and inspire positive change in the world. Just because you don't see any people like you in a field or a dream job doesn't mean you can't go pursue it, which is why representation in school is so important. Education is a powerful tool, one that can inspire and even change the world. When supportive teachers are combined with a diverse curriculum, there's no telling what students can and will achieve. Mimi saw me for what I could become. So I encourage every one of you to do just that. Be an ally. Help create positive change within our schools and recognize that there's more that can be done. Let's help make our schools a haven for inspiration, for creating new perspectives and building empathy and diminishing ignorance. Let's redefine our new normal. Thank you.